listeners, and welcome to this week's episode of the Otafest podcast. This year is Otafest's 25th anniversary, and I'd love it if you can join us at the keynote event, the Silver Stars Masquerade Ball. Dance the night away, share some stories of 25 years worth of shenanigans, and help us fill up a time capsule with our dearest wishes for the future, which will be opened at Otafest's 50th anniversary. We'll have prizes for best dressed and most marvelous mask and many more. And now, back to Angelo, Dio, and Nancy. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Seth, and welcome to another episode of the Otafest podcast. With me today are Dio and Nancy.
Hello.
And let's get on to some more announcements.
Indeed.
Otafest Sketch Drive applications are now open until February 26th. Come be a part of this beloved little corner of the festival. Get your application in today. Also get your AMV contest submissions in for prizes, for glory, for a rip-roaring good time. And back for its second year, the Manga Library is looking to expand its collection, and we'd love your help. If you have manga collecting dust on your shelf, or if you need to free up room in your collection, consider donating to Otafest's Manga Library. Head to otafest.com/manga for more details.
Hello. And speaking of collecting dust, are you ready to transform your cluttered space into a clean and organized oasis? The Otafest charity auction is here to help. Not only will you declutter your home, you'll also be giving back to a great cause. By signing up, dropping off your items, and letting us handle the rest, you'll be making a positive impact on the community. Your items will embark on a new journey with a new owner, and all proceeds will go towards supporting this year's charity, the Meow Foundation. Make a difference and clean out your space at the same time. Submit your items now at otafest.com/auction. Otafest just got even more exciting with Girl DM! Woo! With a passion for video games, anime, and art, she captivates audiences with her unique and entertaining streams. This self-proclaimed anime nerd will bring the excitement to Otafest this year. She even has her own ramen flavor partnered with Vite Ramen!
Holy cow,
God.
Really?
Yeah, you can
What kind of flavor is it?
It is Yuzu Shoyu, if I remember right.
Yeah, Yuzu Shoyu Ramen.
Oh my gosh, that sounds perfect. I love yuzu shoyu. So good.
It is super tasty. It is super tasty. Girl DM, is that our first VTuber guest ever?
That is our first VTuber guest at Otafest.
Exciting.
Oh.
I know. We are at long last joining in on the international craze of VTubers. We're bringing our first VTuber guest.
We got a weird cat.
We got a weird Mayo cat, and even nicer, Girl DM is a Canadian Mayo cat, so it's always nice when we get to support local guests coming to our event. So
Of course. The Canadian content creator gang.
Yeah, we get a Canadian VTuber.
Oh gosh, I'm so excited.
Do Canadian anime conventions have to deal with CanCon laws? Luckily, no. The CRTC ain't got nothing on us. But we'd be okay anyway.
Amazing. Speaking of food, I believe Angelo has some very strong ideas about when favorite places suddenly get very popular.
Oh my god. This is something that Dio and I have been dealing with for a few weeks now. There's this wonderful brewery here in town that we love the beer at there. We love the pizza that they have there. Like they've got stone-fired pizza. They've got beer they've brewed themselves. I mean, they're a brewery.
Yeah.
And for the last 3 weeks, every time we've gone there, it's been too full. There hasn't been a single space to sit. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to us. Every time we think that we see someplace, it's reserved.
So what was the catalyzing event that caused this sudden skyrocketing?
I believe there was some social media posts about the Privny Pilsner, like a Czech-style Pilsner that's supposedly very, very authentic. And after that social media post went out, they have been packed. At first, I thought it was because we were going on like a Saturday evening.
Which is always going to be busy time for a brewery.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
this last time we went was around lunchtime. We went around lunchtime, and the only place to sit, there were 2 seats available at the bar. And I mean, lunchtime on a Saturday, the place is packed. People are eating pizzas. Some people are playing board games because this place is right across the street from Sentry Box. Beers slinging everywhere. And I mean,
It's not going to get any less busy at that point.
if that is the least busy they get in a winter, oh my god. Luckily, they have a lot of outdoor seating, so
They
maybe
do.
summer will get better, but
Well,
I'm
they'll
worried.
have more capacity, but doesn't that make it harder for the kitchen and the staff to keep service up?
yeah,
Potentially.
potentially.
And I mean, definitely, I think it's the case of like, so it's one thing when a new place opens up and like nobody knows about it, but like when people like, and the other aspect is like when a place opens up and people go and they don't have maybe like the greatest time or they have an okay time. And so they're not going to go out of their way to go again. But if you go
Right.
somewhere for the first time and you have an awesome time, you're going to go a second time. And if you go the second time and you have a just as awesome or even better time, well, then you're going to go a third time. And if you have a really good third time too, well, then you're just going to go there all the time. And I will say, like, the service there is incredible. The staff are super friendly. The food's delicious. The beers are amazing. I would not be surprised that for a lot of people, that's their favorite brewery or like place to go hang out. Because it's like, if you have a good time there, why would you not always go?
That's fair. Yeah. So we're what you're saying is that we're basically experiencing Moraine Lake, but slightly to a smaller audience. 'cause
smaller
it's
degree,
Calgary,
yeah.
not just,
Yeah.
everywhere, everyone coming to see Moraine Lake first thing at sunrise type thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy some delicious beer and some nice Stonefire pizza. And the other thing is they're new. Like, it's their only brewery in the city. So it's not like you can go to a different location.
Yeah.
It's only the one. And they only have the one. So if you like their beer or you like their stuff, there's nowhere else to go. Unless you want to order it.
Yeah.
Or go do pickup or something.
So question, are you going to try and find like a window to go where there's less people, or would you rather just try and find a new joint?
Oh, I figured out the times when to go, right? Like
Oh.
the best times to go are not during like peak times. Like I would say, like if you think of like a brewery or like a pizza place, like when are the times when those places are the most busy? That's going to be like weekends and like especially weekends during the day. So that's going to be like Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday all day, and maybe Sunday.
You gotta go Monday morning.
So the answer, like,
There's nobody drinking on a Monday morning.
well, or even like
That's where you're wrong.
But here's the thing: like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like even if you go in the evening, nobody's gonna be there.
Says you.
I mean, like there will be people there, but not a ton of people compared
Not
to
the
like
usual crowd.
yeah, not compared to like a Saturday night or like
Yeah.
a Saturday during the day.
Yeah, so I had a similar experience. There was a new Italian place that opened up near us, and it was probably late summer when they opened up. Still relatively unknown until their social media started picking up. So we went once on like a Friday evening without a reservation, and we were fine in the summer. And then suddenly Stampede came, and it got super busy. There's like a crowd of people who tend to only really go out and party and drink a lot for Stampede season.
Yeah, for Stampede season or other like special occasion type of things.
And because they held a special event for Stampede and they managed to impress a lot of people, they won those people's patronage. And so since then, it has been significantly busier.
Nonstop busy. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I got really lucky. There was a Thursday evening. I showed up like at 5 p.m. for early dinner. And I managed to get a spot at the bar. Like, I didn't get a table. I had to sit at the bar, which isn't
Yeah.
a bad experience, but they usually reserve bar seating for like after all the tables are filled.
Yeah, like overflow.
Exactly. So I was just like, it's a Thursday evening. What is happening? And like, it clearly never slowed down since Stampede. And I don't think they've slowed down since anyway, even though it's winter.
And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people, I mean, without turning this into an economics podcast again, because I keep doing that, I think a lot of people are being more picky with their where they patronage and where they spend their money. And
absolutely.
So as a result, if you find a really good place and you really like that place, or you really like that food, you're going to go to the same place over and over again because that's the place where you can get the stuff you like, rather than gamble on, well, I can try something different, but I might not have a good time and then also spend all that money. Which can
especially
always be
with
tough.
The economy right now, and people are like, I don't want to completely stop myself from enjoying nice things in life, but I'm going to be a lot pickier about where I'm going to go with that money.
Exactly. And like, if you can only go out once a week, you're going to go out to the place where you're going to get the most enjoyment for your buck.
Yeah.
I think.
And
so I think that's why we're seeing a lot of like places that are really good are getting really popular.
That's a good thing. I'm happy for those businesses.
Me too. I'm happy for them.
The silver lining is that they're not going out of business anytime soon.
Exactly.
If they went out of business when they're packed 24/7, something else is going on.
Indeed.
Yes.
And so everybody listening right now is probably screaming, just make a reservation, forehead. And,
you already told them where it was.
You have a story, don't you, about reservations?
So maybe that would work if you're anyone but me.
Oh,
maybe
really?
That would work if you're anyone except me. I have learned that I can no longer make reservations.
You can. You just have to
It's
check.
impossible.
No,
impossible
you
challenge.
did it.
Angelo,
No,
reserve a restaurant. Impossible challenge.
don't say that.
So, yesterday, Dio and I, we had reservations to go to Gyukaku here in the city.
Yum.
And it's so good. It's so absolutely wonderful.
Japanese barbecue for anyone who is uninformed.
Yes. And I'd made reservations in advance, and I was checking my phone, and I was like, yes, 6:30. That's when we're heading out. If we leave the house at 6, we will get there in time, no problem. 6:05, we're on the platform at the train station, and I get a call. And they're like, hey, are you planning to come for your 6 o'clock reservation?
Oh, no.
Nani? Nani kore?
Oh, no.
What?
What happened?
So I misread everything. The reservation was, in fact, for 6. I don't know how time works. Nobody does, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
I'm fairly certain. So I'm like, what, wasn't it for 6:30? And they're like, sorry, no, we couldn't fit you in for a 6:30 table. And then the train is actively pulling up. It's noisy. They're on a restaurant line. I'm at the train platform. And then I hear something about 7:45. And I'm like, oh, they can fit us in at 7:45, I guess. Well, it's a later dinner, but whatever. So we show up at 7:45, and the girl's like, no, that's not what I said on the phone. I said if you could get here soon, as long as you're gone by 7:45, you could get. And I was like,
Oh, no!
And keep in mind, this is the only task that I've given poor Angelo for Valentine's Day was to pick out the dinner and make the dinner reservations. And it's 7:45, so we haven't had any food since like lunchtime. So I'm starting to get a bit hangry.
Cranky. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
getting real cranky.
Oh my gosh.
we did end up having a fairly nice meal. We walked to a nice sushi
You're leaving
place.
out the part. You're leaving out the part that really made me go, ugh, which is where, so the lady is looking at us and we're looking at each other and we're looking at the lady. And the lady goes, so we're kind of busy. The next time we could get you guys scheduled in to eat is 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah, no, I completely wiped that from my memory. It's just a non-starter.
And I was just like, yeah, no thanks. And then so we walked out.
Oh,
So we
where'd
did
you go
eventually get
instead?
some nice food. We walked over to Fusion Sushi. We
Okay.
had some nice food. We went over to Fwafwa afterwards.
Yay.
Fwafwa is the best.
Yes.
And I
The
was
best.
happy. In the
Did it
end, I
make
got
up
to
for
eat dinner.
some of
and
the
I got to
anguish?
have fluffy pancakes, so I was no longer hangry.
Did it make up for some of the anguish for the evening?
Mostly. I'm no longer upset about it, but I'm just like, please don't let this deter you from trying. Let it be a lesson on how to double check.
I'm never trying to reserve a restaurant again.
No.
I am going to do all of my eating, cooking at home,
No.
and maybe with meal delivery services.
I still want to go out sometimes.
We're cooking at home.
No.
Angelo,
Oh my
reserve
God.
restaurant challenge impossible.
Not like this. Although
Oh, no.
we did do some meal delivery services, or rather,
Yeah.
I did some meal delivery services.
You did. Okay.
Yes. So
Both Nancy and I are pretty, I would say we're proficient home cooks.
We are
Yeah.
quite experienced in the art of home cookery.
whereas I am not. So I am fully capable of cooking, and I know how to cook. But there's two things I require. I require peace and quiet and calm. I do not like when other people try to help without being asked or try to converse while I'm cooking, because I need to focus on the task at hand. And I need a good, rigid set of instructions, a good, reliable recipe. If I
Okay.
can do that, until like some things are in my internal recipe repertoire and I can do them without thinking about it. But most things, I would say, do not fall under that. And so I need to be able to focus and I need to have clear instructions. And otherwise, and because those are very specific, it means that I am capable of cooking, but I don't derive any joy from it. I
see.
enjoy only the joy from the eating part of the food.
Okay.
So, I have been trying to cook more. One, because I don't like buying takeout, and I never have really enjoyed buying takeout. It doesn't feel very nutritious and satisfying. It costs more money.
Yes.
But at the
Yes,
same
it does.
time, I always have the struggle of I live alone. And so I can't really go to places like Costco and do lots of bulk buying of food because I cannot, it's very hard to buy food in portions for one person, which
True.
means I'm always struggling to get enough food to feed myself for several days and also not introduce a bunch of accidental food waste.
Yes.
So I figured I have tons of friends who are creators and have creator codes with HelloFresh. And the promotion that they were running was you put in the creator's code and they take, across 4 boxes, they take $100 off scaling.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, that's considering
That
like
sounds
their
familiar.
regular 2-person boxes are like, they're like $100 a week if you don't have any discount. I'm like $100, split across like 4 weeks is a pretty good deal. It's like, it's the equivalent of like getting one free meal set from them. And I figured I would try it, and then I would have the little recipe cards, and if I liked the recipes, I would now know what to go get from the store in order to recreate them, and I would have the recipes handy.
Right.
So I did 4 weeks. I spent the past month doing HelloFresh, and the way that I'd done it was I picked they set them up in like, you can either buy a 2-person or a 4-person meal set, and you can buy it for some set number of days. So I did 2-person meals for 3 meals, which for me works out to like, it means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have dinner and then lunch to bring to work the next day. 'Cause
Okay,
I
interesting.
cook the 2-person portion. I put one person's portion in a container, and I bring it to work the next day.
Okay.
And it was quite an interesting experience. I did a couple of them with Angelo, but I did most of them by myself. They were all good. I have no taste complaints about any of them.
So, with a little bit of the experience that I've gotten from it, I do have my own opinions on HelloFresh, and I guess meal delivery as a whole.
Right, because there's other ones like Chef's Plate and all kinds of other ones.
So
Chef's
I
Plate
don't-
is now owned by HelloFresh, actually, so they're the same
Oh,
thing.
so now they're the same thing.
There's Blue Apron, I think, is the other
Yes,
one?
Blue Apron
yeah.
is the other one.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was I I was kind of surprised by how complicated some of the HelloFresh recipes are.
I've been
They
told
are.
that. I've been
They
told
are-
that.
Even the ones that are described as like quick and easy, and this was a thing that threw me off as well. Even the ones that are described as quick and easy are not particularly
not.
quick, and they're not particularly easy. Like
They
think
make
the
use
only
of some very complicated tools.
Yeah, I think the only way they could be quick and easy is if you're making a 2-person meal and you have 2 people doing the work together.
That's what I found.
I see.
When me and Dio were both cooking together, because there was a lot of like time-sensitive stuff, I find,
Yeah.
if you only had one person, I feel like it would be really easy for them to get overwhelmed with it.
It was it was a very fine line. Like, it was very much a struggle for some of the meals when I was doing them by myself. It was like, you're supposed to start one thing and they're like, yeah, stir this sauce and keep stirring it. And then meanwhile, go prep this meat and protein and this stuff that's supposed to go in the oven. And by the way, you're supposed to be stirring this thing while it's, boiling or simmering on the stove, and make sure it doesn't burn, or make sure it doesn't, make sure you don't overcook it. And then some of them were super complicated because, like, I have a very minimal kitchen set. Like, I have a small kitchen, and I have a very minimal set of tools. I don't have, a million pots and pans, and I don't have like 20 different pieces of bakeware. I have like the bare minimum, like, standard things you need to cook food. One big deep pot, one medium-sized pot, one small pot, one simmering pan, one regular fry pan, and one skillet fry pan. That's it. And I have like 3 pieces of bakeware, each in 3 different sizes. So it's like, I can do anything. But, if you need me to have, 2 different pieces, 2 different sheet pans, I only have 1 sheet pan. And so I would encounter various dishes where they're like, so you're going to put this thing in the oven on 1 sheet pan, then you're going to take it out and you're going to put another thing on a different sheet pan and put it in the oven after. And it's like, but I only have 1 sheet pan. Why couldn't I just, and it's at the same temperature, so why couldn't I do these 2 things on the same sheet pan in the oven at the same time? Like, why did the instructions specifically have me divide these things up? So that was
that
interesting.
happens. You say, you wing it. You wing
Yeah,
it.
like, the answer I realized was, like, for a lot of these things, you really don't have to follow the instructions, and sometimes the instructions are a little bit much. But in other ways, the instructions are, like, a little too shallow, where, like, they're like, you need to, like, provide your, like, they don't mention at the top of the recipe list until you're, like, reading the recipe card that, like, it expects you to provide what it considers pantry items of, like, we're going to provide you the salts and most of the produce, but you need to get, like, your own butter. You need to bring your own milk. You need to, if there's eggs, and not that I have, I did have a couple with eggs. If there's eggs, you need to bring your own eggs, that kind of stuff, which is fine until I found out, because I'm cooking and I'm realizing it wants me to use my own butter, that they want you to use unsalted butter. Whereas for one of the recipes, all I had in my house was salted butter. And I thought, well, this is fine. But the answer is, if you're using salted butter instead of unsalted butter, you should probably use less salt. Because you're already getting salt with the butter.
Yes.
So I made the world's saltiest mashed potatoes once, and I was like, whoa.
You can't
It was edible, but it was just very salty.
Wow.
Mashed potatoes fit for Aquaman. Just as salty as the sea.
Indeed.
Oof.
Like, they were edible. But I was like, if I had known, I would have just not added any salt. I would have just used the salted butter, and that would have been fine. But
And that's
aside from those things, like, it was pretty okay. On one hand, it was nice to have, like, what effectively for me was 6 complete meals for, like, less than $100. Like, that's pretty good bang for my buck.
Yeah.
It was very easy, and because they give you a little app, you can choose and swap around what meals you want. So I tend to want to pick meals that have a protein and a vegetable side, rather than, like, a lot of cookbooks. And this is kind of my struggle with, like, a lot of people are like, why don't you just go buy a cookbook then? Because a lot of cookbooks are like, especially North American ones, are like, here's a meat protein that is usually red meat specifically, and a starch side, like a pasta or a potato or a squash. And it's like, I don't want that. I want like a lean meat protein and a vegetable side, so that like I'm getting enough nutrients, because I eat like a bird, or Angela has joked that I eat like a rabbit. I don't eat really big portions. And so I want, like, I have to, that means if I'm not going to eat a lot of food, the food that I'm eating has to be very nutritious.
Enough. Yeah.
Or else I'm going to, have a carbohydrate induced nap right after dinner every night.
No, I'm the same way. I also tend to eat like a bird. I eat very small portions, and I am happier like snacking throughout the day, and therefore I should be snacking on healthier things and not
Exactly.
Baby Star ramen chips.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, instead of having M&Ms or crackers or chips, it's like I need to have like fresh cut vegetables, cucumber, carrot, slices
Tomatoes.
of melon or sliced fruits, like
Are
stuff
you
like that.
saying that fruit by the foot doesn't count as a portion of fruit?
No,
I don't think so.
it does not.
I don't think that
What
counts.
about fruit roll-ups? It has fruit in the name.
You see, I think there's fruit juice in it, but I don't think there's enough to constitute
What
a
about
whole
gushers?
fruit.
They have like an entire juice box's worth
Yeah,
of juice
those are just
in
full
the middle of the candy.
syrup.
That's just sugar. That's just sugar.
It's just sugar through and through. But it was a cool experience. I'm not going to continue. My discount period has now ended.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't think, it doesn't suit my lifestyle and the food that I like to eat.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more work than I would like to put in during the week. Like, the one thing I like about sort of like, I have some in my fridge, I have frozen vegetables, and I have, like frozen proteins that I like. It's like, if I want to like come home from work and I'm tired and I just want a quick meal that is like nutritious, but like doesn't take me, 35 minutes, I can do things like, one of the recipes was for meatballs. And it's like, well, why don't I just make the meatballs and put the meatballs in the freezer, and then I can just bake the meatballs rather than spending 15 minutes to prep the meatballs and then bake the meatballs.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I tried meal delivery services quite a few years ago. So what ended up happening was there was a chef's plate promo of some sort. And I kind of was really hesitant to try it out. This was like 5 years ago. I really hesitated to try them out because if you look at the cost of a box of groceries for 2 people to have a single meal, it was a lot compared to what it would be if I just went and bought groceries myself.
Exactly.
A recipe card can't be worth that much. But the thing is,
Exactly.
I realized after like work just started blowing up and my responsibilities at work started changing and I started taking on more mentally tasking sort of things, I discovered that I didn't have the mental energy to think about what I wanted to make for dinner at the end of a long day of work.
Yeah, you just want to come home and just eat it.
And B, even if I, had chosen what to do, like if I had been smart and planned out meals ahead of time and had the groceries, it was still really difficult for me to get all the prep work going. The nice thing about having everything that you need in one single package, because like they would package up like one meal in this bag and then one meal in this bag.
One meal in another bag. Yeah, exactly.
But the nice thing about it is that you take everything out of the bag and everything that you need is there. And you're not like standing at the fridge going, do I need garlic? Do I need butter?
I need this? Do I need mayo?
Do I need a tomato?
milk?
Do I need cucumber? Do I need like... And there's one thing that I really don't like. I don't like standing at the fridge and going, what do I need? And then going back and forth to the fridge over and over and getting, oh, I forgot milk. Oh, I forgot a potato
this.
In there.
Oh, I forgot that.
That's
I
me
actually
learning
found out...
to trying to make food. Finding halfway through that we have no soy sauce, being like, but I need to make my teriyaki sauce. What do?
Yeah.
Worcester was inspired by soy sauce, wasn't it?
Worcester is great. But, like, I just really appreciated having a lot of the mental load removed from my day-to-day. What we did was we would order a box for 2 meals every week, but 2 meals for 4 people. So 2 adults and like assuming 2 kids, I think. And what we would do is it would be 1 dinner and then it would be 1 lunch for the both of us.
Nice. That sounds pretty good.
Yep. Yeah.
And then we only had 2 meals. So for, Monday, which is probably the hardest day of the week for me mentally, Monday and then Thursday, we would have things more or less arranged for us, for me to be able to make a meal, not think very hard about it, and it was good. I do recommend that, like, if someone is looking for different recipes to learn and try, or for someone who's, like, not experienced with a lot of cooking to try. But, I mean, you just told me that a whole bunch of those meals had, like, fairly complicated procedures or tools that were involved, and, like, when I did Chef's Plate ones, they weren't like that. So I don't know if that's just the way that HelloFresh has gone.
Yeah, like maybe it's the difference between the different sort of like categories, because it's the same company at the end of the day. So maybe they do like Chef's Plate is more like beginner friendly, and HelloFresh is more like here's meals, here's meal inspiration, and we'll provide the ingredients for that meal inspiration so you can, try something out of your comfort zone or something more difficult.
In the meantime,
It's also...
I'm just going to take my meal inspiration from YouTube chefs.
I mean, it does work. It is
fair.
quite fun to watch
Chef
them.
John
That
Babish
is
and
fair.
Adam Ragusia, they inspire my
Babish.
kitchen.
Yeah, it's true.
They just make good stuff, and they explain it, and I
They
do
do.
appreciate that. Like I do appreciate the visual explanation of this is what it's supposed to look like. So here's how you do the steps so that it looks correct.
My favorite is when a lot of different food YouTubers cover the same meal in different ways. And then I'm like, oh, this is how they're winging it. I can wing it too.
Yeah, exactly. Like at the end of the day, like a lot of things really are like to your personal taste preference, which is really fun. I would say the one sort of weakness with sort of like meal delivery services is they kind of lull you into this like you don't really have to wing it, and like everything is just set up so you can get the same taste every single time, which is true, but like you should enhance it with your own spices or like preferred flavor profile. You should salt and pepper things like to your taste preference. You should add flavor enhancers or substitutions based on what you like, because like if I've learned anything, it's like the best way to shop is to go get the food ingredients that you like that bring you joy. And then you can never like have wasted money or wasted food because it's stuff that you like. It's stuff that brings you joy. Yeah.
It's really nice when you find pantry staples that really suit your palate.
Yeah.
And then you just find different ways to use them. Like, I have a bottle of Chinese 5-spice that I just don't use unless I'm doing one specific dish, and I wish I had more things I could use it on.
But it's just there otherwise.
Pretty much. But like salt and pepper? Yeah, I'll use that on everything.
Everything.
You need
Mediterranean
the multi-use
spice, I'll use that on
ingredients.
everything.
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
I'll have sake sitting in my fridge, and it's almost exclusively for teriyaki sauce. Except when I'm not making teriyaki sauce, in which case it goes in a little cup
For drinking.
beside the pan for sipping when desired.
Yeah.
For sipping
For
when
drinking.
waiting for things to
enjoying.
brown, yes.
Exactly. It's a very important role in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Some for
Exactly.
cooking and some for the cook.
Exactly. You have to, if you don't tip the cook in tasty things, you're going to have a
Tip
bad
the
time.
cook until the cook is tipsy.
Yeah. Exactly.
One would argue that it's the equivalent of seasoning the cook.
Yes. You have to season the cook so that the cook seasons the food correctly.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
I have to agree.
Accurate. Did you ever discover that you were just like missing certain kitchen essentials while trying to make some of these?
Yes, actually.
Yep.
It was last weekend that I was at Dio's helping her cook, and I was like, Dia, where's your whisk? And she's like, I don't have a whisk.
I didn't have a whisk.
So I had two chopsticks. I had two chopsticks, and that's what I was using.
That's how I've been.
To
Full
make
disclosure.
sure this
I-
bechamel sauce emulsified properly.
That's how I've been whisking
Ooh.
things, and now
Yike.
it doesn't work for bechamel sauce very well, but
So-
it works for most other things decently enough.
I make bechamel sauce without a whisk. I actually am able to do it without a whisk. I don't
With
know why.
chopsticks? Or with a fork, or
No, I don't need to whisk. Like the flour
Wow.
doesn't clump
you're
when
a
you make it
genius.
properly.
You're
So
built
you don't
better.
need to whisk it.
It is more forgiving with a whisk. That's
Is
the
it?
difference. It's
I just
much
use a
more forgiving.
spatula. I just use a spatula.
So this prompted me. This
Mm-hmm.
prompted me while I was grocery shopping the other day. Stop at the tools aisle, and I was like, okay, Dio needs a whisk. I'm getting her one of those little metal whisks that are good for everything.
Uh-huh.
But I also need
yes.
to get her a silicone whisk for her nonstick pans.
Oh, yes, important.
Yes.
Yes, very important.
So today I finally got to whisk things for Dio.
Yeah,
Aw.
we use
We
the
whisked
whisk.
together some enchilada sauce. We whisked together some pudding for dessert.
Yeah,
It was wonderful.
good. We
Ooh.
used the whisks. The whisks got used. They arrived at my house and they served a purpose. But yes, I have routinely, because my kitchen, the stuff that I have in my kitchen is so minimal, I am constantly bumping up against, what limitations do I have by not having a tool that I might have thought at the time was way too specific to need, but actually isn't so specific that I shouldn't have it.
You don't need a tiny whisk. A fork is a tiny whisk. But you do need a whisk.
A full size, it does help. It is, I admit I solved the whisk problem with chopsticks more often than not, and I was A-okay with it. But listen, Angelo's coming over to my house to cook and he needs a whisk. Man's gotta have a whisk.
I once broke the handle off of my whisk, and so did not own a whisk for a period of time.
Uh-huh.
And what did I use instead of a whisk? I took one of the heads off of my egg beater, and I used
Yep.
that instead.
Oh yeah,
I
those
was
are
I held
effectively
an
the same
egg
thing.
beater head,
And you were just like,
yeah. And
Yep.
I mean, chopsticks are totally legit. I use chopsticks for like beating eggs and stuff.
yeah, and they work
But if
great.
you really need it to like actually, move
Get
through a
airy
battery, for
and
example.
fluffy, yeah, you need a real whisk.
I've
Yeah.
noticed that a lot of whisks are really fragile. The
Yeah.
best whisks are the ones that the all steel ones, where the tines go all the way to the back and then the handle is just wrapped steel.
Yeah,
Those are the best ones.
yeah.
I
they
have
don't
some
break.
of those that are older than I am.
Yeah, they don't break.
And
They
they're
last
fine.
forever.
Yes, but
Wow.
for non-stick pans,
They will scratch them.
you need the silicone ones, and those are almost always the kind where they have the whisk parts into a thick handle.
Mhm.
I've had like 5 of those in the last 3 years that have broken on me in different ways. One of them, the whole whisk head just came out of the handle. One of them, it would collect liquid in the handle in the dishwasher. And so when you're using it, it would drool the liquid from the handle into whatever you're cooking. And the first time I saw this, I threw it across the room. I was so angry. I was so angry once I realized what was going on.
That's so nasty.
Oh, that's gross.
And so the
Oh,
nice
that's
silicone
gross.
whisk that I found for Dio, it looked like the whisks were epoxied into the handle.
So they're not
So
going
it's
down
hopefully very strong. There's
I
no
hope
chance
so.
of liquid getting stuck in the handle.
because it's
However-
epoxied shut.
I have good news for Dio.
Uh-huh.
Bed Bath & Beyond are going out of business.
Beyond.
Bloodbath and Beyond.
Oh my god, Nancy, are you like a necromancer or
Bloodbath
something?
and Beyond is an affectionate nickname we have for the shop. But, okay, so Bed Bath & Beyond, they are going out of business. They're closing
They
up all their
are.
stores in Canada.
And
so if
everything's
you are
going to be on
looking,
sale.
if you're looking for things to fill out your kitchen repertoire, now is a good
That's
time
the
to
place
go
to go, and now's the
peruse.
place to
Holy
enjoy.
moly.
Yes, Bed Bath & Beyond has gone bankrupt.
I had no idea.
It is now bankrupt and beyond.
Their
Yeah,
coupons were
bankrupt
too
and
generous.
They were. So now I'm excited because I have a bunch of like kind of cheap wooden utensils that I use for cooking. The
Yeah.
one spatula has split and come apart so many times.
Oh.
There's now it's now a third of the spatula.
No,
Some
that's
of it-
bad.
Some
That's
of it
bad,
came apart
no.
today while cooking, so I'm like, okay, it's time to get a new spatula.
I remember the time a spatula just split in half while I was trying to stir spaghetti with it. It was awful.
Yep. That actually happened today while we were making enchiladas. Another
Oh my
little chunk
gosh.
of wood came out, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Puts that in
Extra
the
fiber in my
compost.
enchiladas.
Indeed,
No.
really, some splinters in my intestines. That'll be really good.
No, bad. That's
So
bad for you.
I will get to take advantage of some Bed Bath and Beyond sales to replace my wooden utensils for my non-stick pots, but also potentially I have been debating getting a toaster. So, not a toaster oven, just a regular toaster, because I do not have one, and people are asking, might be thinking, well, how do you make toast then? And the answer is, I usually don't. I try not to eat a lot of carbs. Carbs are very easily available here in Alberta. So I try to limit the amount of carbs that I do eat to things that I really, really, really want to eat, or that I really need to eat, so that I'm not overindulging in them. And so bread is an easy thing to overindulge in, so I tend not to have too much bread in my house. But when I do have bread in my house and I am making toast, I put it in the oven on the broiler.
Oh,
And it toasts
wow.
both sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It works
Do you have one of
very
those
well.
magical microwaves
but-
that are also ovens?
I do not. I couldn't tell you. I have a microwave. It's in my closet. I've never used it.
Oh,
I don't like using microwaves. There's no logical reason behind this. There's no cool science fact of you shouldn't use a microwave. No, I just don't like using microwave.
that's fair.
So I
That's
don't use a
fair.
microwave.
One of the best things I ever got for myself when I moved out on my own was a tiny countertop version of an oven, because I can make toast in it and I
Yeah,
can
the
bake an
toaster
entire
ovens.
freaking chicken in there if I need to.
Yeah, I think when I used to live with my parents, my parents really wanted to have one of those, and we ended up getting one. And my siblings would use it constantly. And maybe that's why I don't like using it. That or the microwave is my younger siblings would dominate the microwave and the toaster oven. So if I wanted to cook food and I didn't want to have to wait for someone else's food to be done, if I did it in the oven, nobody else was using the oven. So I would just do it in the oven. So maybe it's just a habit from a lifetime of I will always get first dibs on the oven, so I will do everything in the oven.
You see, I was very house poor when I moved out on my own, and I was very conscious of how much electricity it takes to warm up an entire oven.
It does take a lot.
And so moving to an actual small oven was the best thing for me.
Because you were just
I haven't
it
gone
doesn't
back.
take so much energy to heat
Or
things up.
time. Or
Yeah.
time. I think the time is the biggest thing.
Time is the biggest thing. The other
I don't-
way that I like to do toast, if I am doing toast, I will often do a grilled cheese sandwich. So,
Yes.
then I'm just doing it on the stovetop where it's just
Use a
buttered
pan.
bread in a
Get
pan.
a nice crust on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
delicious.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Man, we were talking about grilled cheese this weekend, and now I need to go make several grilled cheeses for lunch
Yes.
this whole week.
Indulge yourself.
What is
Yes.
your favorite kind of cheese on a grilled cheese?
Ooh, I like a mix. I like using a smoked cheddar because smoked cheddars are usually a harder cheese and they get really stringy when they melt.
Yeah.
And some grana padano because it's got that nice
Oh.
parmesan-ness to it. It also comes in petals almost. It doesn't come pre-shredded, but it does come in petals. And so if you get a handful of petals and just sprinkle it on some bread, it's the perfect amount.
Perfect amount. Oh.
Nice.
It's a very good ratio.
Grana
Sometimes.
Padano is a that is cheese for that.
Yeah.
I should try
Sometimes
that
I jazz it up with a little bit of a garlic and onion salt too.
Ooh.
Yes,
Yummy.
that is one of my best things I've ever done. At the grocery stores, you can get that garlic butter spread.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that stuff. It's
Making
so
a
good.
grilled cheese with that,
It's so delicious.
it is a game changer.
Yeah.
Just gonna blow your mind a little bit there. You can make it at home by yourself.
Oh, I know.
You can. It's delicious.
I know. It's just that they make it at the store and it's
I
more
know,
spreadable.
but So what I really like to do back when I used to get like fresh butter from a friend who had a farm, we would put minced garlic in it and just melt it into the butter, but we would also add just a little bit of chives. Just a little bit. You don't need a lot.
Chive butter, yes.
That
sounds
on
delicious.
bagels is amazing. That on grilled cheese is amazing.
Yummy. Yes.
There you go.
Oh,
So
that
delicious.
is the way.
Yes,
I think
it
that
is the way.
every single one of the listeners have transitioned to the kitchen to start making food or snacks over the course of the episode.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I can't make certain promises, but I don't think the next episode will activate the salivary glands quite like this one. Unless you like our voice just that much.
Well, in which case, not gonna disagree with that.
If you like them that much, be sure to be here next time on the Otafest podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.